Now I want to talk about my favorite part, the herbal medicines that you need to have in your first aid kit. There used to be an herbalist named Samuel Thompson. In fact, people that follow his ideas are often referred to as Thompsonian herbalists. And Dr. John Christopher, one of my great herbal teachers, was certainly a Thompsonian style herbalist, because Samuel Thompson used two herbs predominantly in his practice. He used cayenne and lobelia. Cayenne to stimulate and lobelia as a sedative and antispasmodic. And they're very important herbs. Cayenne is one of the first most important herbs to have in your herbal first aid kit. I mean, for serious problems, you can use it for heart attacks and strokes. Also on any wound, it stops the bleeding. But there's a more important reason I want you to have it in your herbal first aid kit, and it's to give it to the person who's injured immediately if you feel that they're going to pass out on you. And you can also give it to yourself if you feel like you're going to pass out. Because the one thing that'll happen when you have a dropperful of my cayenne tincture in your mouth is it will be impossible for you to go anywhere, to go to sleep, to pass out, to fall down, whatever. So if you feel like the person that you're treating is going to pass out or lose consciousness, just take a dropper full of my cayenne extract and put it in their mouth, and you will see a lot of blood rush to their face. Their face will turn red, and they won't be going anywhere. And if any time during the treatment of the first aid you feel like you might lose consciousness, you can take the cayenne tincture yourself. Now you can also use cayenne powder for all the things I mentioned. You can put a teaspoon of cayenne powder in hot water for someone having a heart attack or someone having a stroke. This will stop it immediately. You can also pack the powder right on wounds. You can also give a pinch of it to the person you're treating or a pinch of it to yourself, and nobody will be going anywhere. But one of the reasons I like tinctures so much is they never go bad. Tinctures have a shelf life of about 50 years. They're quick. They assimilate quickly into the body. You put this into your mouth and you assimilate it in seconds right into your bloodstream. You'll see your face turn red. You're there. So tinctures don't go bad. They can store in a first aid kit for years, and they work immediately. And they're also incredibly concentrated, very, very powerful. So for this reason, I love to have herbal extracts in my first aid kit. So also in your herbal first aid kit, you're going to want to have a sedative. And remember, I mentioned that lobelia was a powerful sedative and a powerful antispasmodic. So in my first aid kits, I have my nerve tonic. Now my nerve tonic is 50% lobelia seed extract. And lobelia seed is the most potent and powerful part of the plant. And so this is a very powerful antispasmodic. Now with that, I add valerian root, skullcap, passion flower, hops, and the cohoshes, black and blue cohosh. And now you have a very powerful sedative and a very powerful antispasmodic that you might need in a first aid situation to calm a person down. If I could only have one herbal medicine in my first aid kit, listen up, if I could only have one herbal medicine in my first aid kit, it would be my anti-infection tincture, my anti-infection formula. This comes in so handy with all types of injuries, cuts and wounds. Let me tell you, this is the one extract that you can't be without in your herbal first aid kit. First of all, it disinfects wounds. When someone is hurt or cut, and I'm going to show you a little later in this DVD, I immediately flush the wound with my anti-infection formula. Okay, you want to flush the wound. You can use dropperfuls right in the wound immediately to disinfect. There's echinacea root and echinacea seed in here, which is a powerful antibacterial. You have garlic extract in here, garlic bulb, chopped fresh organic garlic right in here. And garlic destroys every known bacteria, gram-positive bacteria, gram-negative bacteria. It destroys staphylococcus or staph infections. It destroys every known virus, all the funguses. So it's a broad spectrum antibiotic, antiviral, antifungal, anti-anything that'll hurt you. It destroys all microorganisms that can hurt you. Also in here is golden seal root, another very, very powerful antiseptic to cleanse the wounds, and another lichen called usnea, again another powerful antiseptic, and myrrh resin in here, a powerful tree sap, another antiseptic, and tea tree oil, another powerful antibacterial, antiviral, and antifungal. So the combination of all those herbs, let me tell you, when you flush a wound out with this, you are never going to get an infection. In my 3 decades of clinical practice, I never once saw a patient get an infection after the fact when I flushed their wound with my anti-infection extract. Okay, now what else is in this? Because it doesn't stop here. There's herbs that contain iodine naturally, not like betadine or inorganic iodine solutions that you'll find in the hospital or in the drugstores, but natural iodine from black walnut hulls and sea vegetables like kelp and dulse. So it's loaded with iodine. So you have the antibacterial nature of the iodine also in here. Now, it also has astringents in it that help close the wound back up, like bayberry root bark, a very powerful astringent. It also is loaded with habanero pepper. Remember, I already talked about cayenne. It stops bleeding. So with the astringent of the bayberry and the cayenne in here, when you flush a wound with this, it's immediately disinfected, but it also starts to tighten up and the bleeding stops. You'll watch the bleeding go down to a trickle. And finally, I also mentioned the myrrh gum already. I already mentioned that. But I also put in pine sap and other tree saps. Now, tree sap is tree blood. And tree blood, when you cut a tree is injured or wounded, it bleeds, but it bleeds sap. And the sap does 2 very important things. It closes the tree's injury, and it also is very antimicrobial also. Okay, but it seals the injury. Do you know that years ago, I was in the woods and I picked some sap up off a tree and put it in my mouth and tasted it, and it stuck to the roof of my mouth, and it was there for about 3 days until it peeled off, and I realized the power of sap. I also knew that tree sap, like cherry sap, is very disinfecting. It's been used for hundreds of years for colds and flu. But I also knew that once you got sap on you from just working with 2x4s and wood and doing some carpentry work, that once you got sap on you, it was very hard to get it off, and it was sticky. So I put a lot of tree sap in this formula, from myrrh gum to pine sap to other tree saps, for a lot of reasons. Okay, one is it's sticky and it glues wounds back together. Yep, this is what I call herbal body glue. And I can't tell you how many injuries I've glued and cuts I've glued back together. In fact, I had a man that was in a bad car accident and his whole patella his kneecap was hanging off. I put it back and glued it back on with my anti-infection body glue. Now, beyond that, it disinfects, so you don't have to worry if maybe there's still a little debris, but we're going to talk about cleaning out wounds later. But also it seals and coats the wound, and this is beautiful. It's like a liquid Band-Aid or a liquid protective sealing. If you take the anti-infection and you take it out like this and you put it on your body, okay, without dripping it too much, and then I blow on it, it'll evaporate very quickly. The reason is there's a lot of alcohol content in here. I extract these herbs with a high alcohol percentage. So once it's on you, it will evaporate. And once it evaporates, the alcohol dissipates, but the tree sap comes back out of solution and dries on your body. And if you do this at home, and then you'll feel that area, you'll see that it's a little bit shiny. But if you go to rub your finger across your body, it got stuck right there. Again, rub your finger and it sticks right there. Now you have sap covering the wound, sticking the wound, gluing the wound back together, but coating that wound so it protects it. So all the anti-infection properties are inside the wound, but at the same time you have like a liquid bandage covering it. Now I could talk for hours about this, one of my absolute favorite formula, but don't have a first aid kit without a bottle or two of your anti-infection formula in it. Another great product that you need to have, an herbal medicine for your first aid kit, is my deep tissue formula, either in the oil or the ointment or both. These are very important, and I'm going to tell you why. These are awesome for any bangs and bumps and bruising. The first thing this formula does is it contains wintergreen oil, which is a natural anti-inflammatory, reduces the inflammation in your body. It also contains botanical menthol, a very powerful extract from peppermint leaf that increases your circulation dramatically also. So you're reducing inflammation and you're increasing circulation. Two things that are very important with bumps and bangs and bruises, where you have blood coagulating and other fluids underneath and swelling, which causes your circulation to get stuck. Now, it also has habanero peppers, the hottest type of cayenne or hot peppers in it, which dramatically increase your circulation also. So here you have wintergreen oil to reduce the inflammation, botanical menthol, or very powerful peppermint, to increase the circulation, along with cayenne or habanero peppers to increase the circulation too. So we're looking at increasing the circulation, so that breaks up the coagulated blood and the bruising and all the congestion that happens while you have a bump or a bruise when you have a traumatic pound to your body. Now, it also has 3 of the greatest herbs known in the world for trauma to the body: arnica, calendula, and St. John's wort. Each of these herbs has become world famous for their ability to heal bangs and bruises. They've been used by bone setters in the mountains of Spain. These are very potent, powerful herbs for any time there's been an impact or a trauma to the body. So the deep tissue repair, whether it's in ointment or in the oil, is essential for your first aid kit, and I'm going to talk about it more when we talk about trauma to the body. Now, there's going to be some other herbal medicines that you're going to want to include in your first aid kit, but I'm going to talk about them specifically in the next section, where we're dealing with how to treat the emergencies, how to treat the trauma, how to treat the wounds, and how to treat the serious life-threatening emergencies that you can have in your household.